I have with me Professor N. Yaguchi of University of Kanazawa, Japan, who has been working on the Ajanta Caves since the last 25 years, as far as I know. He is a professor of architecture in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. We shall be discussing with him the various facets of the Ajanta Caves, mostly centered in the dimension of architecture. Professor, if I may begin, how did you start your studies on the Ajanta Caves, and why Ajanta Caves?
Well, I came to India to study about Hoysala temples many years ago, and I studied at Mysore University, and my friend invite me to Walter's seminar. So I came there as Indian student.
You mean Walter M. Spink?
Yes, Walter Spink's seminar.
Which was that year?
Oh, that was 1992.
Please tell me, which dimension of Ajanta appeals to you most?
Well, I like to figure out how they create the caves. Not only one cave, caves. They are so complicated. Some are going below the caves. Some caves are making above the caves. So I like to figure out how they could make such kind of complicated caves.
But why Ajanta only?
Ajanta is most complicated.
In
I have been to Nasik, but only one case. That is cave 3 and 4. And I have been to Aurora. No chance to get such kind of examples.
But Ellora is comparatively quite vast and perhaps more grandiose than Ajanta. So why is it that Ellora did not invite your attention as much as Ajanta did?
Aurora has enough space. They could excavate many places, but Ajanta is quite limited. And it has two phases, as you know, first phase and second phase. In other words, Hinayana phase and Mahayana phase. I don't like to use that name. So, for example, cave 11, that is in between cave 10 and 12. So, it is very complicated. One side, no cells. The right side has no cells because of cave 10. And that's why they made porch cells. That is the starting point for the development of Ajanta Caves. That is my mind.
Are you saying
idea.
that Cave 11 is the starting point
Of
The
porch
second
cell-
phase?
Porch cell.
of the port cells and not Cave 25,
No.
left side?
No. That is the last moment.
Well, sir, in view of our audience, I shall deliberately avoid to go into extreme details
Yep.
and ask you rather general questions
Yes,
that comes
please.
in the minds of the most people, which is based on just now what you said, that there are two phases of Ajanta. Please tell me what are these two phases and what is the period of these two phases?
Everybody knows. The first phase is, we don't know the exact date, but it must be 1st century AD to, first century BC to 1st century AD. And second phase must be later half of 5th century. That I'm sure. Not from 5th century to 7th century like that. They did it in 5th century only. I can give you a lot of evidences in that way, but I don't like to give you now.
All right.
It's very specific.
Before going to the second
Detail.
phase of Ajanta, before going to the second phase of Ajanta, I shall like to have your attention very briefly on the first phase of Ajanta. And you have just now said it belongs to the first century BC
To first century AD. Yeah.
to first century AD. All
Because
right.
we don't have any evidence at that time. We know only it's done by Shatavahana.
Is it done by, are they done by Satavahanas?
I believe so. But
You mean-
don't ask me about like that things, but because I'm not the specialist of the inscription
And epigraphy.
and epigraphy and
Perhaps you imply that it was done during the Satavahana period. And not necessarily you imply that the Satavahana kings had a direct patronage activity at Ajanta, right? I think that is what you mean, right?
yeah.
Okay, I take it that way. Now, would you throw some light why this particular location was selected in the first century BC?
Don't you think it's a wonderful site? Ajanta is a kind of miracle made by the nature. The shape of the horse shore, gully, and the cave 10 is at the center. It's a best position. And 4 kilometers from the main road. So it's quite easy to get food from there. So I think it's the best position to live for monks. That is my idea. Then after 400 or 500 years, another people came in Bhagataka time. So they found some ancient caves. So that is why I think they created many caves around cave 10, 9, 12, 13. That
So,
the
what was
center.
happening during those 400 or 500 years, you said?
I don't know. It's your problem. It's not my problem. you know. And usually, professor says during first phase and second phase, they stopped the excavation. I don't know the reason.
Was the worship activity going on during that period in cave number 9 and 10?
I don't think so.
You think the site was dead?
Yeah.
And then in the 5th century AD, would anyone go to a dead site to make new temples?
Yeah. Because I cannot find any trace to be worshipped for 500 years or 400 years in the ancient time. Even in the 5th century's monuments, some of them are worshipped and some of them are not worshipped. No trace of worship. How do you explain? So the worship is not very much necessary for the caves.
Please tell me, why was it dead for these 4 or 5 centuries?
I said I don't know the reason. Maybe it's abandoned. Some of the reason. People left from the site or war came. I don't know. But
Many other Western Indian cave sites tell us that building some kind of activities definitely went on up till, let us say, the 2nd century AD.
which
Up till 2nd century
Second
AD
century,
or so.
okay.
In Kaneri or Kondani or Nasik or Junnar.
Konkan
Yeah,
area.
many areas. And in your view, would you say that these earlier caves in cave number 9 and 10, they also were in use up to, let us say, second, at least till second century AD or so?
Maybe, but there is no trace there.
No trace there. It's very difficult to say. Cave number 10 says that it was made by one Vasati Putra,
Okay.
the son of Vasiti. Person of the same name or same appellation, Vasiti Putra, is also there in Sanchi East Gateway. Would you say that this Vasiti Putras and the Sanchi Vasiti Put was the same person or they were different persons?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I can tell from the architecture point of view. I'm not very good at epigraphy and such kind of things, so I cannot tell anything now.
Architecturally, would you say, are you in the position to say, in relation to like cave number 9 and 10, which is earlier and which is later?
Maybe 9 is earlier.
And why so?
The shape of cave is quite primitive. Cave 10 is much improved. It's my idea.
Now, I'd like now to rather quickly move on to the 5th century phase.
Okay.
What is your opinion about the period of this 5th century development?
That may be late half of 5th century. I mean, 460s and 470s and 80s.
And 80s also.
No, 80s means, yeah.
80s would mean 10 years. That would mean
No. First, I mean, I would say 462 to 480, according to Professor Singh.
And you agree to that dating?
I have no evidence against him, and I have special evidence why they made at once. I worked on doorway. Can I talk?
Yes, this is very important.
I worked on doorway of cave cells, and usually the professor says started from cave 9, 10, 12. That is Hinayana's phase. And after that they started from cave 11, and from 11 they spread to the caves. Yeah, that the site. Yeah, everybody understands that's the order. But I can find, exactly the Professor Spink find the same type of doorway in cave 17, 16, and 2, 1, and 26. And they changed their mode in different way. So I feel someone started the good doorway mode sometime. Then, Ajanta is very close. So many places, many caves are very close, and workers were doing their job every day and looking neighbors. Okay, so they are looking what they are doing at the neighbor. So they find some new idea, so they will adapt new idea to their caves. So I feel if the age is different completely from 5th century, 6th century, 7th century, like that. So the door type might be quite different. But in the one cave, we can find a lot of type of doorways in cave 17, 16, like that. So I think that is a strong proof. They made caves at once. And you know, cave 1 or 2 thought very new, 7th century or like that. But the same doorway is found in cave 17 or 16. And I can tell you one thing, that is right 5, the fifth cell from the front on right side of cave 1. We have 2 holes there to hang the door. 2 holes. Both are used. You know that. So that is quite clear evidence. They changed their way of doorway at the same timing in 5th century. No, they never changed from 5th century to 7th century. I think you can get my
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Your detailed study, microscopic as it is, has never been undertaken so far in the 2 centuries of Ajanta studies, Professor Yaguchi. And there is a slight scope that many of the audience listening to this or attending to this video may not be able to understand
Okay.
what doorways we are talking about and what is so important about these doorways. Therefore, first of all, it will be very nice if you could explain to me what are these different door modes and why we must talk about this in a discussion on Ajanta.
The historian or art historian usually say about the styles of paintings or sculptures. But the style of paintings or sculptures might be the difference of the culture or guild. But the technology of the doorway is simply the technology. Nothing about that. Nothing more than that. If you find new technology, why I should not take the same technology? You are copying Japanese car. Japanese car is copying from American car. We just copied, then improved. So doorway is also the copy. If someone find new way, we can go for new one. That's much fine and much comfortable. But design is different. One can say hand is different, but one can say the time is different. But I like to adapt hand is different. That is my opinion.
Yes, and how many types of door modes are there?
I would say 5.
And what are these?
It's very difficult to
Like
explain.
what is so special in the first and the second and third and the fourth and fifth? Can you briefly?
First one is A mode we call. A mode is they don't prompt to make door. Simply make the doorway. Then second one is make the projection at the top and not on the floor. So they made a hole at the bottom and projection at the top. So they need to open the door from the floor. Then the next one is C mode. They made the projection at the floor also. So it's very smooth. The next one is D mode. They put a recess in the wall. From A mode to C mode, the wall is very thin. But when they started to make D mode, the wall became quite thick.
Fat, yeah, thick.
Thick. Then they can close the door. After closing the door, the room is very, the flat. So that is much comfortable. So they are converting from A mode to D mode, B to D, C to D. So at last, D mode is everywhere at Ajanta. And E mode, next one, is they could not make D mode. So they break the wall, put the wooden piece and try to make D mode. That is E mode, we call.
So, in your understanding, this technological development of the door fittings from A mode to D mode is a definite proof of how the development of Ajanta happened from phase to phase.
Yeah.
I have
That is one proof.
one of the proof. So it is important to underline in this discussion that it is entirely new chapter added to the Ajanta studies, which gives a very reliable indication of how caves developed, how synchronically they developed, and also how technologically they developed. But it also throws a question as to what about earlier monasteries at other sites where we have such viharas and they have cells, and did they not have any such kind of door fitting arrangements?
We have B mode and C mode at the cave at Ajanta 12 and 13.
And they were added in the earlier phase or in the later phase?
Earlier phase.
In the earlier phase itself.
Yeah. First, the later phase people didn't want to make door, I think.
Initially.
First of all.
Okay.
Then they went to cave 12 or 13. They find the trace of door. So they realized, oh, they made a door. So they introduced. It's very close to 16 or 17. In 13, there are two holes at the top and the bottom. So they remade the door. They fit again. So they are very, conscious about the door. That is nothing here nowadays. Painting is much better, or sculpture is much more important, but they are very keen about the door. It's nothing now, but it's very important. You understand? No one pay attention, but it's very important.
What about the shrine doorways? Do we find any uniqueness about shrine doorways as different from the cell doorways?
Yeah. Well, say, have you been to cave 11? Still, we have the wooden door fitting at the bottom. And the cave 6, lower 6, we can find the carving. The carving means sculpture there at the bottom. Still it's intact. So better to go and check. It's there.
How many shrines had the doors actually fitted into them?
I cannot count it now.
Any 16 definitely had. 11 had.
16 is very peculiar. It has no antechamber, right?
No antechamber.
And
why does it not have? I wanted to know this. Why is there no antechamber in 16?
It's planned as a cell. Then it converted to stupa. Then they changed to Buddha image.
What is the proof that it was planned earlier as a cell?
Now it is the production pattern, But have you been to there? There is one small projection.
Yes.
That is the proof of the cell. It's the height of the cell, it's cut. Then I'm sure it's going to be the cell. Then they changed their mind to make the production pattern. And that is only one cave with pillars and pilasters having the door. And they made the trace of the door to make it move clearly.
It is there, yeah.
Yeah. So they changed their mind to make shrine
What is
from the cell.
And when do you think they made this change?
I don't know. After some time. But during the Ajanta excavation, all the all the caves getting information each other and change their mind every day. So 16 also, the Baraha neighbors caves also change the mind to get the Buddha image.
Why is this Buddha in Pralampa Padasana or Bhadrasana?
Because the image, the idea came very late, I believe.
In many other shrines, we don't have Padmasana and Bhadrasana, we have Padmasana.
Yeah.
Why not Padmasana? And if you say it's very late, then why do the pillars not have carvings as beautiful as cave number 1 and 2?
We have carvings in cave 16.
I'm talking about
in
pillars.
In the front aisle.
I'm talking about pillars.
They planned to do all the caves like that. They abandoned. They gave up to do so. Painting also not completed in cave 16.
Why not?
The work suddenly stopped.
And why so?
They abandoned.
Why did they abandon?
Maybe because of war.
What kind of war?
I don't know, but Professor Singh said the conflict between Ashmaka and Rishka. And the Bhakataka also joined with that conflict, so they could not keep the creation at Ajanta. I learned like that, and I didn't research about that because it's not my field.
Natural curiosity will arise in many people. If there is a war between two kingdoms or two provinces, Rishika and Ashmaka, why should a temple be affected by it?
I think it's natural. Suppose you are making the caves, and I'm fighting with other people, and I'm an owner or supporter to give you money. I'm busy. How can I give you money? And your place is very dangerous in between two enemies. I think that would be the reason.
I could understand the fact that, at least with regard to cave 16, when the donor is Varahadeva, the supposed Sachiva, or the chief secretary or the prime minister of the Vakataka Empire, and when the conflict breaks out, then he has other priorities to address. But I'm intrigued why the same situation is found in many other caves. The same situation, that is the brief halt of the work, and then the resumption of the work again. Why it happens in other caves? For example, Mathura. Why should Mathura be affected in cave 4?
All of the site at Ajanta. Site was dangerous because of war. No water, no food, no money. So they escaped simply from the site. And it's not my profession, but lapis lazuli, the blue color, in painting is very expensive at the first time, but at the last moment in cave 26 or 6 upper 6, lavishly they are using blue color, even in 20 also. So why they could use that kind of blue color in those caves? Because I think it's my idea. The price of blue color, I mean lapis lazuli, is getting down. No one used lapis lazuli at that time, so it was very cheap. So they bought it and painted for only their images. At that time, the owner of the cave or sangha might be out of the sight. So only the people who want to make the image came in and painted. You may have another.
No,
Opinion.
very legitimate and very reasonable. It is perfectly understandable, and it is quite possible that it was so. But in your discussion, you made a mention of Sangha. Do you think there was a Sangha at the site?
Maybe sangha was there.
Now, I shall invite your attention to Harisena,
Yeah.
whose name is found in at least 3 inscriptions, and he has been eulogized, praised, and compared with the Indra and Krishna and Pradyumna and Balaram and
Yeah.
things like that.
He must be Hindu, not Buddhist.
And if he was a Hindu, why should his name be mentioned and praised in a Buddhist monastic establishment?
Because he paid money.
Did he pay the money? Is there any proof or evidence?
I don't know. I suppose he paid money, so his name is in the inscription. Otherwise, he was the king of the empire, so his name must be there.
But those long inscriptions where his name is mentioned do not say at all that he is involved in the establishment.
It is your field, not my field. Please.
All right, let's come to a little bit of the things of architecture.
Yeah, please.
So much of the front part of the caves have been collapsed. We have a very difficult time trying to figure out how the caves must have looked in the times of the 5th century AD. Do you have any idea of reconstruction, how they must have resembled the facades and the front areas, the front courts, the courtyards?
We can go for old photographs. We can reconstruct a little bit more. We can find the fallen pillars in front of cave 1 as well as cave 21 and 23, 26. And still we can find the trace from the riverbed to the caves. Directly go there. I can find in front of 26, that must be the steps. And from 26, it's connected to 24. And in front of 19, that must be the steps. We have the yaksha images there. And 17, we have the hall in front. And 16, the famous, the elephant gate. And 8 or 7. Now the
6 and
bridge,
7.
6 or 7.
6 and 7.
Because we have the big bridge, according to Professor Singh. That place might be the entrance for 9 or 10 or 12, like that. Then the cave 7 and 6 use that entrance, I think. And maybe 4 or 1 have some entrances from the riverbed only. But we don't have any trace from cave 4 to 1. But I'm sure they all of the caves have the original entrance from the riverbed only, not like contemporary. I mean, ASI.
The lateral path
Yeah.
from 1 to 26
Yes,
connecting
yes,
each
not
other.
like that.
It was not the original way. But please tell me, with respect to cave 4, did cave 4 had its own frontal entrance coming from the riverbed?
Maybe share with cave 7. I'm not sure.
And please
Because
tell
no
me,
trace, yeah.
please tell me why is cave 6 connected to cave 7?
Well, cave 6 has 2 stories, as you know. And lower 6 started first, and upper 6 is later. And lower 6, one side is system. The right side is system. To keep order. And the left side has the doorway to cave 7. It's original.
Why is that doorway so special? Because we don't see anywhere. Why was that doorway necessary at the left end of the porch of lower 6?
You know, after some years, they start make porch and cell. Then they make double porch and cell. The first moment, they don't plan to make porch and cell. Then I believe they used the porch end to access to next cell. Then it's my idea, but they are approaching from the old doorway, old way from the riverbed to the so-called Hinayana Caves. Then they made a good approach to cave 6. You know, usually, no, cave 4 or 2 or 1 is very high place. Why it's very high? Because rock is not very good in the low position. So they should make in upper position. You know, near the cave 10 is a good place to make caves. But people rush to come to make caves, and after that they could not find the better place. So they, pushed out like cave 2 or cave 1. So after that, they had much problem there. They could not make lower place. They could not find better rock formation, lower place, very close to the riverbed. So they have to climb up and find the best place, but it's
Okay, can I divert your attention to something else
Yeah.
which is also very important for me to know and many people would like to know? In the 5th century, when they began work on the Ajanta, which was the first temple they began work on?
I don't know. Maybe 11 or
11
6.
was began as a dormitory. My question is, which is the temple, first temple they began?
Must be maybe 19.
19.
Or
And please
maybe
tell me,
26 also.
please tell me, when the monks, when the planners are beginning the second phase, 5th century phase, why would they begin work? Why would they first begin the work on a dormitory rather than begin the work first on the temple?
Don't be silly. Cave number 10 is a good temple. Good charter is there. Why you should make another temple?
So you would say that cave 11 began as a dormitory, and it was a structural and functional adjunct to caves 9 and 10.
No. I'm not very sure. It's only my opinion. The owner started as dormitory, and after that he changed his mind, or someone changed the mind to make a shrine. I think you have a lot of evidence. They changed from dormitory to Buddha shrine.
Yes, that
Apparently
evidence-
they changed, and they abandoned on the right side of the cells. I think
Yes, there quite convincing evidence is there. Professor Spink has mentioned some of them, and we have also
Yeah.
studied a few of them. But I would like to go to some larger questions than the finer questions, because we have a limited time. And that is when we begin a new project on a site which you say was dead, and when we are beginning the first edifice, why should it be a dormitory and why should it not be a temple? Because cave number 9 and 10 were dead, as you said earlier.
yeah.
Why should the first excavation, if it was cave 11, be a dormitory, begin as a dormitory? What is the priority? Is the dormitory the first priority, or is the temple the first priority, which was going to be 1926?
Well, I would say, Cave 9 is repainted.
It was repainted,
And Cave
but
10
going by your earlier,
Cave 10 is also repainted.
it was repainted.
So-
But if we conclude that the site was dead, then our first edifice 11 cannot begin as a dormitory,
Why?
because 9 and 10 are dead temples. Worship is not happening. It's full of overgrowth.
If Vasek is not Vasek is not continuing,
Assuming
What?
that they were dead.
that means not use it for a long time.
That's what that's what I mean.
But-
if cave number 9
But
and
I'm
10,
saying, I'm saying, Cave 10 is repainted. Cave 9 is also repainted.
much later, not in the beginning here. I'm talking about, let us say in
Repainted
Walter's,
again.
let us say in Professor Spink's terms, let us picturize 462 AD. All right? And if cave 11 was the first edifice to begin,
One of the first.
one of the first, not the first.
I don't know which is the first, but one of the first, I think,
All
because the technology of Cave 11 is much low.
All right,
Like
now
cave
let us come to
low.
this question.
Okay, let me finish.
Please,
Okay.
please.
You said why the 5th century people want the Vihara first. That is your question, I think.
Well, Vihara, the term I do not personally like, but it's okay for the sake of
The dormitory,
convenience.
whatever.
In English, dormitory we can say.
But Cave 10 was not used. Cave 9 is not used. But they were alive.
They were not dead.
That means no worship. They are repainted.
Yeah, for 200 years.
Afterwards. But they try to live at Ajanta. They selected Ajanta. That means Ajanta was alive
It was alive.
for 300 or 400 years.
Absolutely.
They were not.
Sir. Absolutely.
Ajanta was not used, but it was alive.
Yes, sir. Because
So
the tradeway
that-
people, highway people have been going, they would come to the waterfall for water.
That was my point. It was not worshipped. It was not worshipped, but I think
People
it-
kept coming.
yeah.
Please tell me now about 19, cave number 19 and 26. These two are so beautiful cave temples.
Yes, I agree.
Why are they so different from other temples of the same 5th century period? They have vaulted roof. These are temple with a Buddha inside, but they have vaulted roof, an apsidal plan, with a colonnade going like that, with a nave and a chaitya arch. Whereas other temples like cave 16 and 17 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 21 and 23 and 24, etc., are also temples with Buddha shrines or expected or planned Buddha shrines, but they do not have a stupa and they do not have vaulted ceiling, they have flat ceilings with cells. Why do we see this distinction between two kind of temples in the 5th century phase?
Come on. The aim of excavation is different. For example, cave 26. Cave 26 is not existing, only cave 26. Cave 26 is the complex with 25, 27, and left wing and right wings. It is the charter for with 4 caves, 4 viharas. And I think you know the existence of cave 28. Cave 26 is planned by Ashomakas, as you know. And Ashomakas wanted to make big complex. 28, maybe 29 is there, so 30, 31, like that. They like to make another 3 viharas going to the waterfall. So 26 might be the center of Ajanta. They are planning to do so, I believe.
What is the indication that they were making any such plan?
28. They are making next cave there. They are not starting only from 26. Okay. They made 21, 23, and 24. And 3 caves more, the other side. It's possible. So if they made 3 caves more, it must be the center of Ajanta, not cave 10.
If that is so, who could be the patron of cave, cave 29?
29.
Yeah,
29 must be Rishikers.
Rishikas. And why should it be located at that height, at that inconvenient place?
Because of rock formation, and Rishika's place is limited. All are occupied by Ashmakas, western side.
But these Rishikas, they have already created cave 19 Gandhakuti. Why make another Gandhakuti 29?
It's my opinion, but 19 is aiming to winter solstice. 29 is aimed to summer solstice. That is my opinion. Maybe different from you. So if they make 2 chariots, so it will be perfect. Ashmaka could make only 1 for summer solstice, but Rishika could make 2 chariots for summer solstice and winter solstice.
What is the evidence for us to enable to call it Ashmaka caves? Because Buddhabhadra says that he's thankful to Bhaviraj
Yeah,
from the Ashmaka country and
Yeah.
etc. That doesn't mean that Ashmakas came and excavated these caves.
But Ashmaka is supported to Buddha. That is enough for me.
He's simply thankful
Yeah.
to somebody in Ashmaka country.
That is
Doesn't mean that those people necessarily came here to make these temples. That is not the inscription. That is not what the inscription says. The inscription is very clear. It leaves no doubt. It leaves nothing to suspicion and nothing to imagination. If they had indeed come and made any direct donation, or the inscription would have said it. The inscription is simply saying that I'm thankful to so and so and to Bhavi Raja, the Ashmak Raja, the Mantri, the minister of the Ashmak Raja, etc. It does not give no indication that Ashmak Raja or his minister was himself involved at Ajanta.
I think we are very good friend, and you are publishing the book, and if I pay some money, you are going to mention my name or not?
Surely.
Then that's it.
But in that case, I will make a point to state that that Yaguchi has funded the project, especially when I'm clear about many other things in my inscription. I will not leave a room for suspicion on this.
The price is limited. Maybe Ashmakan king did not want.
The thing is, Buddha Bhadra thanks Dharmadatta and Bhadrabandhu
Yeah, another monks. Yeah,
for having seen to the excavation of the temple. He definitely had the time and place and intention or intent to thank the people if they had funded the project.
go back to the publication.
Uh-huh.
I gave you money,
Mhm.
but I don't want my name on your book because I don't agree your conclusion. So
It is a possible interpretation, but would it be evidence to say that Ashmaka is indeed funded?
so it's not very clear, but I believe Ashmaka supported Cave 26.
And what is the evidence that Rishikas were involved?
I don't know. It's your problem. It's not mine. And I like to point out one thing. Ashmaka is very close at the Aurangabad caves. You know, and we can find the Tara image at Aurangabad, many. But we can find Tara in
Cave 26.
not only Cave 26 at Ajanta and 10A.
10A, yes.
So you are,
But 10A is intrusive.
yeah, intrusive. And 26 is earlier. And what I want to say is you are saying Hinayana, Mahayana about Ajanta, but Vajrayana is also in,
Coming now. In the very end.
yeah,
It's coming now.
not very end, but
Do you think because Vajrayana... please,
let me
come,
finish.
please complete.
So Tara image started from Ajanta, not from Aurangabad or Ellora.
Is it the first case of Tara in Ajanta?
I believe so. I know only two images at Ajanta, 10A and 26.
And before Ajanta, before these two examples, do we find Tara anywhere?
Come on, it's impossible.
Impossible.
So Buddha image also start from Ajanta. So how
Buddha?
Bodhisattva image, Bodhisattva, yeah, Bodhisattva image. I mean Avalokiteshvara.
No, sir. No. Avalokiteshvara is found earlier also. Avalokiteshvara is much earlier to Ajanta.
Okay, so it's lack of my knowledge, but many of images started from Ajanta. So Tara also started from Ajanta.
Professor Yaguchi,
Yes.
after the end of this beautiful discussion, I would like to know where are you at the stage of research, and what is your future plan? How long do you wish to keep engaged with Ajanta?
Well, as long as possible. Oh, now I have some injury here, so I face some problem. But to help of my assistants and friends, I'm fine now. So I like to continue my work as long as possible.
Great. I thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge, and I wish you all the best for your future research and success.
Thank you.
Please keep sharing your knowledge.